thing is very important. It's about proof of your student status at the time of requesting the consideration of deferred action. You have to show that either you've graduated from a school or you're currently in a program. That's going to be really important. So any kind of school records, transcripts, report cards, diplomas, anything like that from the school that you're attending or you have attended, or a GED certificate, and then if you were in the military, any of your military documentation, okay? And keep in mind that I've heard examples of people out there selling certificates saying that you've been through a school program. Be very careful of that. You have to have actually been through the program, okay? We're going to be looking at the schools and seeing, are they an accredited school, or are they the type of school that fall within the guidelines for this program. So be very careful and be very leery of people who say it's very easy. Okay, so you had to have been in the U.S. for the last 5 years, right? So maybe you went out and you attended, you went back, say you're from Mexico, and you went back to Mexico and you attended your sister's wedding and you came back. You were gone for a month. Is that going to be a problem? Probably not. But you have to be able to show us that you just went out briefly and you came right back. Okay? And the reason was a good reason. It wasn't to commit a crime. It was because your sister was getting married. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. You're going to have to set some, if you did leave the country, you're going to have some type of proof to show us when you went and why, or some explanation. Some of the evidence that they list here are passport entries, plane tickets, hotel receipts, evidence of the purpose. So if you went to a wedding, maybe there's a wedding announcement, a marriage certificate showing your sister got married. All kinds of things are going to be considered. And maybe we gave you an advance parole to leave and come back. That would be evidence. Okay, so there's a difference between types of evidence. There's circumstantial evidence, and that's what I was talking about as far as going outside of the country to your sister's wedding. You may not have those plane tickets that you used if you went on the plane, but you might have the wedding announcement or something like that. And we will consider those. We'll take those into consideration. The only time we'll take into consideration circumstantial evidence is if you were to show physical presence in the U.S., or that you came before you reached age 16, or to satisfy the 5-year continuous residence requirement. Any travel outside the U.S. during the 5 years of required continuous residence, you have to show that it was brief, casual, and innocent. Any travel after August 15th, 2012 will not be considered brief, casual, or innocent unless the deferred action has already been granted. So to leave now could cause you problems if you do decide that you want to request deferred action with us. Okay, so we will not accept circumstantial evidence for two things. Your age. We have to have proof, a passport, a birth certificate. We're not going to take something, a medical record with your birthday on it. We have to have state records or country records showing your date of birth. And also the education history or the military history. We have to have actual records from the education facility or from the military. Okay, so I talked a little bit before about where to file. So you're going to go onto our website, and you're going to, where are you going to go? Does anybody remember? All right, USCIS. You're going to go onto our website, uscis.gov/childhood arrivals, and you're going to see the form is there, the 821D. And when you print that form, you print the instructions. And the instructions, there are 3 different places you can file, but because you live in Texas, you're going to pick the one that says Texas, okay? And when you get ready to file, check the website and make sure it's still the same, okay? Now, you do have a choice to have electronic notification that your application has been received. So if you want a text or an email, you would file Form G1145 with your application. The G1145 is just a sheet of paper. It doesn't cost any money. You include that with your package, and that allows immigration to either email you or text you to say we received your application. Okay, completing the Form 765. Again, this is pretty self-explanatory. It's going to ask where you live, who you are, when you were born, and it talks about the fee. You'll find all of this online again, and this must be filed with the 821D. Again, the classification is C33. You will not find this in the instructions for the 765 because they have not been updated. You will only find this in the Deferred Action section of the website, so please remember C33 is the classification for the I-765. Okay, so what happens after you file? Well, when we receive the Deferred Action request, we will look to see if it's complete, and if it is, we will accept it and we will send you a receipt. We will then send you a notice scheduling you to go for fingerprints at one of our centers here. We have several. We have one in North Dallas, one in South Dallas, one in Fort Worth, and one in Lubbock. But I don't think anyone here is from Lubbock, right? That's wrong. Okay. And once you receive that appointment notice to go for your fingerprints, you must attend. You must. So make sure you keep that appointment. Now we may ask you for some more information after we accept your application. So keep in mind, if we send you a request for additional evidence, respond to us. Respond to us timely so that we can work through your case. And then, after we've received everything, you'll receive a written decision from us. If you do receive deferred action, it'll be for a period of 2 years. The employment authorization card will also be for a period of 2 years. Keep in mind, there is no appeal or motion to reopen and consider if we deny this case. But say something happens. Say we send you a notice to go for fingerprints and you move, and you told us your new address, but we goofed up and we sent it to the wrong address. We will consider that and we'll reopen the case. Okay. So there are instances when we will do that. I'm going to briefly talk about the criminal history part of this. I touched on it earlier. Please keep in mind, if you have ever been convicted of a felony offense, a significant misdemeanor offense, or 3 or more other misdemeanor offenses not occurring on the same date, you will not be found eligible for this. Okay, so some of the, I've had a lot of questions about what is a significant misdemeanor. Okay, so here are some examples. Domestic violence, sexual abuse or exploitation, burglary, unlawful possession or use of a firearm, drug distribution or trafficking, or driving under the influence. Those are some significant misdemeanors. Another question that has come up before are juvenile records. Without actually seeing the record and what the court documents say, we will not know the answer to the question. Sometimes juvenile records will still be considered and sometimes they will not. It depends. It really does depend. Another question we've had is about travel outside of the United States. If you do receive deferred action, you may or may not be eligible for advanced parole. That is when immigration gives you permission. Well, you can leave, of course, but it gives you permission to come back in. So we would give you a document, you'd be able to travel out and come back in. But keep in mind, that document is not going to, well, it's kind of hard to explain unless you work for immigration. The laws can be complicated, but sometimes if you've been here a long time illegally and you leave the country, what happens is you trigger a bar. And what that means is if you go and you come back, you could trigger a bar that you have to, if you ever were eligible to apply for a green card, there could be a problem. But that's something to consider if you do receive the deferred action as an advance parole. But I do caution you to be very careful with that and make sure that you seek guidance from an accredited community-based organization, or come to us and ask us. Okay, so what will happen if we do not defer action on your case? What if we say no? Okay, so the worry here is, are we going to then send all of your information to enforcement and removal operations to deportation? Are we going to do that? The answer is no. However, if your case is a criminal case, fraud, or threat to national security or public safety, then we would. It may be referred to Immigration and Customs Enforcement. However, if we review all of the circumstances and we determine to defer action in your case, the chances are we would not provide the information to enforcement and removal operations or Immigration and Customs Enforcement, only if you're a serious criminal, there's fraud, or there's a threat to public safety or national security. Okay. And we will protect your information. The information that you provide to us in your deferred action request is protected from disclosure to Customs and Border Patrol and to Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Unless you meet the criteria that I talked about, the criminal issues, the public safety, the national security, or the fraud. Okay, your information may be shared, of course, like I was saying, with national security and the law enforcement agencies, including ICE and CBP, for purposes other than removal, again, if there's fraud, national security, or crime. So it all goes back to that. We will not share if you don't have that type of record, that type of history. Okay, so there's a slide, and you can find this on our website. It takes you through the steps of filing, okay, and I've already talked about them. And there's another slide that talks about reminders and resources, and everything is on the website for that. What I really just want to remind you about is be very careful of the immigration scams that are there. We do not expedite this process. If you have someone who's telling you to pay them $1,000, $500, $2,000 because they're going to expedite this process for you, that is untrue. That is a lie. So please be very careful. Be very, very careful. If you have questions, feel free, again on the website. Everything's web-based these days, right? You can make an appointment to come and ask us about this program. There's a program called Info Pass. On our website, you can click on a button that says Make an Appointment. You can make an appointment at the time you choose, the day you choose, and you can come in and talk to an officer in my office and ask them about the guidelines for this program. So if you're unsure about something, I mean, I'll be here tonight. We'll have a question and answer session, but if it's not something you want to talk about and you feel shy, then you can certainly feel free to make an appointment with the office that's in Irving. Okay, now, I'm not sure, Lillian, do you want me to take questions now, or do you want me to, I'll wait for Lillian to tell me what she wants me to do, or Douglas?
Muchas gracias por estar. Vamos a escuchar una nueva canción aquí, Patriota, por las niñas que nos honran esta tarde también con su presencia. Y luego vamos a tener preguntas y respuestas para que ustedes puedan sentirse libres de preguntar, aclarar sus dudas. Esta tarde tenemos aquí a nuestra directora y ella va a contestar todas sus preguntas. Viene Denise y Astrid con nosotros. They're going to sing a song, and then after, they're going to free to ask questions. Ustedes le aprecian que estén aquí, ¿verdad que sí? Démosle un fuerte aplauso. Gracias. Es un honor contar con la presencia de estas personas importantes y qué bueno que ustedes están recibiendo información de una fuente oficial. Nuestro propósito es que ustedes no cometan errores. Como estaban diciendo a mi sister Rango, mucho cuidado. Cuidado con lo que están haciendo y es por eso que estamos aquí esta noche trayéndoles información para que ustedes vayan a casa seguros de lo que van a hacer. No vayan a hacer nada fraudulento, no vayan a tratar de comprar documentos, nada de eso. Vamos a ser bien honestos y bien seguros. Y yo sé que ustedes van a ir a casa con mucha información. Ahora sí, escuchemos a Denise y Astrid y un aplauso fuerte, por favor. Déjate feliz. fieles con América. Habemos América. God bless América. Que Dios bendiga América. Su nación. Que Dios bendiga América. Ahora sí, siéntense libres de preguntar. Y aquí vamos con las preguntas y respuestas. Y si quiere llorar, llore. Jóvenes, ¿quieren llorar? Llore. Su sueño está a las puertas.
Vamos, ¿dónde están las preguntas?
Levante su mano.
Levanten su mano, please. Put your hand if you have a question.
¿Cuáles son las opciones?
I guess they're referring to the I-765.
On the I-765, they're going to ask how you entered the country the last time you came in. If you came in with a visitor visa, you put visitor visa. If you came in over the border, you put without inspection or no visa.
Immigration status.
Current immigration status. If you do have no status, you write no status.
All right. Who else has a question? Okay.
The 465, do we send the money in a money order or in a check?
Okay, so the fee can be money order or check. They get processed by a bank right away before they come to us. So keep in mind that it'll be electronically processed immediately.
Okay,
I was just wondering if you can go a little bit into details about the visa status. Like, you know how you said if you came in and it's expired or you went too fast.
Okay, I went fast. Oh, you should have told me I was
Sorry.
fast. It's okay, so she's asking about the visa status, like if you came in as a visitor. Okay, so if you came here as a visitor for business or for pleasure, and you were supposed to leave in December of 2011, but you stayed, that is one of the guidelines. You would be able to meet that guideline. However, if you came into the country May of 2012 and your stay expires October of 2012, you will not meet the guideline. The stay had to have already expired before June 15th.
Okay, who else?
So on the I-765, when it says social security number, do we put a tax number or just leave it blank?
If you don't have a social security number, leave it blank.
If you had a social security number and you've been working with it, will that affect?
For this, okay, she asked if you had a social security number and you've been working with it, will that affect this? For the deferred action, it will not. Place a social, if it's a true social security number that you have from Social Security and not gotten from other means, then you should place that on the form.
More questions?
You're gonna get your exercise tonight, Douglas.
Yes.
Ok, mi inglés no es bueno, lo voy a
Está
decir en
bien, mi
español.
no es, mi español no es bien, tampoco.
Mis hijos agarraron papeles hace 3 años. Ellos tenían un permiso de trabajo y un seguro social, pero se venció por X situación, no pudimos terminar el trámite, pero ellos tienen todo eso, pero vencido. No sé si yo tengo que hacer todo eso porque ellos tienen, mi inmigración tiene toda la información de ellos. Ellos tienen permiso de trabajo y seguro social, pero está vencido porque cuando uno empieza el trámite tiene 1 año y después se vence y no terminé el trámite yo. Pero ellos tienen todo.
I understand. But what process did you start?
¿Qué proceso comenzaron ustedes que los hijos tienen ese seguro social y tarjeta de empleo?
Una persona los pidió.
Una persona los pidió.
English on the computer.
Thank you. I'd like to remind the public to please keep the questions in the DACA topic.
Ok, en español. Sorry. Una de lo que piden de los requisitos para nuestros hijos, piden como ID o como una identificación, matrícula consular o pasaporte, pero mi hijo no tiene nada de eso porque apenas cumplió 18 años. Tiene una semana que cumplió.
Does he have a school ID?
Yes.
Okay, school ID.
Es todo.
Yes.
No necesito ir al consulado a sacar.
No, school ID.
Bien, gracias.
Se fijan, ella entendió todo.
I spent money. I got my passport.
A los jóvenes que califiquen.
Un momentito, por favor. ¿Podemos hacer un poquito de silencio, por favor?
A los jóvenes que califiquen, estaba yo escuchando que a ellos se les va a otorgar el permiso de trabajo, el ID, y ellos pueden sacar una licencia para manejar. O también se les va a facilitar un seguro social bueno para los muchachos que puedan entrar en este proceso.
Okay, so I think the question was, if through this program, will they be able to get a social security card and a driver's license? I do not know about the state requirements for a driver's license. You'll have to look on the state website or go to the Department of Motor Vehicles. For social security, if you have an employment authorization document from us, you can take that to social security and get a social security number. You can get social security.
Okay, permíteme, déjame introducir. Con la tarjeta de empleo podrías ir al Seguro Social para que te asignen una tarjeta única del Seguro Social.
We're just asking you here about your current addresses, where you used to stay. If you're not sure about the actual dates, does it really matter?
If you're not sure about the dates, make sure you estimate the dates.
Of like the month and the year, is that
Yes,
okay?
and if you're unsure, make sure you keep copies of everything you submit to us, because if you come to see us for an interview later and you tell us something different, we're gonna think that's kind of strange. So make sure when you're estimating, you keep copies so you know.
Okay, and regarding the driver's license, like mine is gonna expire in 2 months. Will I be able to get it renewed?
I don't know.
You don't know yet?
I'm sorry. No, that's a state government agency, not federal government.
All right, thank you.
Welcome.
Can we use our income tax as proof that we've been here since 2007?
That can be some of the proof, yes.
If my sister has her passport and her birth certificate, does he need to send both or just one?
I think the more evidence that you have, the more you should send. If you have a lot of evidence, that helps the case. So I would send copies of both.
Okay, and then on the I-821, it says status of entry. Can we put unknown, illegal immigrants, or knowns entered without inspection?
You can put any of those. If you don't know, you can put any of those. You can put unknown, because if your parents brought you here and you're not sure if you came as a visitor or not, that's fine. You can put unknown, you can put illegal, or you can put entered without inspection, any of those.
Okay.
Ok, mi pregunta es, mi hijo lo pidió su papá de él cuando en la situación esta que salió en el 2001 para pedir a los esposos e hijos, ¿verdad? Pero resulta que mi esposo murió en 2 años. Entonces mi hijo, en los papeles llegaron a migración tuvo la aceptación, ¿verdad?, de que aceptó los papeles, pero todo el proceso terminó ahí. Entonces mi hijo puede entrar en esto para aplicar.
Okay, so So there's a couple of things here. You may still have a case even though the father passed away. So I would suggest that you work with a community-based organization or come to our office for more information. But if your child has no status, then they may be eligible for this program.
Si el niño no tiene estatus, puede ser que califique bajo este programa.
Sí.
¿Podría comunicarse con uno de los representantes aquí del proyecto o de hijo?
Sí, porque yo fui a ver a unos abogados y me dijeron que como el papá había muerto, ¿verdad? Antes de que llegara la aceptación de invitación, y como él era residente, no era ciudadano el papá, entonces dijeron que había unas leyes que decían que nomás los, ahora sí, huérfanos y viudos de ciudadanos, no de residentes, entonces ahí quedó el caso.
Nuestra recomendación para ese caso es que te comuniques con Douglas o con Lía y ellos pueden agarrar el caso y nos lo refieren a nosotros y nosotros lo vamos a analizar.
Gracias.
Con los papás de mi amiga metieron el paquete familiar y ya se casó, se juntó con su novio. ¿Ahí qué se puede hacer? Los papás de ella.
¿Hicieron una petición a esta muchacha?
Sí, metieron el paquete familiar.
Y la pregunta es que si ella califica bajo ese
Sí,
programa.
pero ella no es casada, ella está con su pareja nomás.
Si ella califica bajo califica bajo esta guía que presentamos, estos tópicos que presentamos aquí, pues entonces ella tiene una oportunidad. Pero ella tiene que estar dentro del programa, ella tiene que calificar dentro del programa para poder agarrar el beneficio.
Ok, gracias.
Buenas tardes. Mi pregunta es la siguiente. Dentro de los documentos que se están pidiendo a oficiales, ¿tienen que ir certificados? O, por ejemplo, si yo tengo la partida de nacimiento de mi hija, nada más así como la tengo, tiene que ir certificada. Y algunos otros documentos que están pidiendo.
Esos documentos no tienen que ser certificados, pero si son en español, que sean traducidos.
Mi pregunta es, mi esposa cumple 30 años en un mes, pero ella está ya fuera de escuela.
Ella tiene que repasar todas las calificaciones que se exigen. Y si ella está dentro, si ella puede estar dentro del programa, pues entonces tiene una buena oportunidad.
Ella ahorita, los papás de ella la están pidiendo. O sea, ella supuestamente...
Sí, eso es otro caso, es a different case, con diferentes requisitos. Para este programa es completamente diferente.
Entonces no debemos hacer nada con este programa.
¿Con cuál programa? Con este.
Ajá. Ella ahorita está en proceso. Pero ella quiere entrar por medio de la escuela.
Mira, repasen de nuevo todos los requisitos, ¿ok? Y si ella, si ella piensa que puede alcanzar todos los requisitos, pues entonces que someta las formas, los formularios.
Entonces no le afecta porque ella está siendo procesada ahorita.
Mira, para dar una respuesta precisa, no podemos hacerlo sin mirar el caso que tiene ella, la petición que se le hizo. No tenemos nosotros aquí el lujo de tener el expediente para poder dar una mejor respuesta. Bajo este programa, ya hemos estipulado todos los requisitos. Si ella piensa que tiene una buena oportunidad bajo ese programa, que envíe los formularios. Y si quieren repasarlo, lo pueden hacer en su casa o lo pueden hacer junto con... Pueden ir a la oficina de nosotros o pueden repasarlo con Proyecto Inmigrante o con New Hope.
Ok, muchísimas gracias.
Vamos a pedirles que hagan una pregunta clara para que ellos puedan entender. Y vamos a hacer turnos. Ya tomamos un grupo de aquí, ahora nos vamos del otro lado y luego regresamos de este lado, ¿sí? Para que seamos justos. A ver, aquí Douglas, te toca el micrófono.
Mi pregunta es, mi hijo y yo siempre hemos vivido con mis papás. No tenemos ningún comprobante de domicilio a nuestro nombre. ¿Cómo podemos demostrar que hemos vivido todo el tiempo con él?
Podrías utilizar la documentación de la escuela, de alguna clínica, doctor, hospital que han llevado al muchacho. Es como evidencia de que él estuvo aquí presente.
¿Sirve una comprobante de que él ha estado en una asociación de soccer todo ese tiempo en ese mismo ciudad?
Sí, eso es necesario. Si ahí aparecen fechas, es importante. Otro documento podría ser las vacunas. A veces cuando se registran para los equipos, para jugar en equipo como de fútbol, a veces les requieren una aplicación y con fotos y con mucha información de dónde viven, dónde han estado viviendo los diferentes años. Ese tipo de evidencia la pueden utilizar.
Ok, gracias.
I had a question that has come up several times between a couple of friends and I. And if you used a made-up social with a made-up name, do you have to put that in the application as well, or you don't, or how does that work?
If the question is on the application, you should always be truthful in your answers.
Okay. So I have to put that. Oh, my ears got red.
Hi. If you're not able to get a school ID for the deferred action or any type of ID, what are the paper documents can you show for proof?
It depends on what you have. If you have a birth certificate and other records, when it's reviewed and the officer takes a look at it, they'll review the packet all together. And if it's accepted, when you go to the Application Support Center for fingerprints, that's really where they're going to want to see an ID. And sometimes people don't have that. So if you have like I said, the birth certificate or any other kind of evidence, you come in with your child. It's really, it's kind of difficult to say exactly. A lot of it has to do when you walk into that Application Support Center and they feel that you are being honest.
So they're in school right now, and can they apply for this point, but when they start school, they can take the picture ID from school whenever they do the pictures?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. And I was going to ask you one more thing. The question that the gentleman had regarding his petition that he had, if you put another petition for the deferred action, would that drop the petition off? Or you can still? No. Okay. So you can.
But you have to remember there are different kinds of petitions and applications for immigration processes. So without knowing the exact petition or application, I cannot say how it will affect you. So you must go to a community-based organization that's accredited or to our office and ask us. It's important.
And the I-765, do you only need that because of the Social Security? What about a 14-year-old who is trying to do this application? Do they need to do the I-765?
Well, unless they're in proceedings, they have to be 15.
Oh, they have to be 15?
Yes,
so,
unless they're in deportation proceedings.
Okay. So that is just basically for the Social Security purpose?
No, it's not for Social Security purposes. It's part of the process. The 821D must be filed with the I-765 and the I-765WS.
Mr. Rango, I do have a question to ask you since you guys are here. Can you please advise the community who can practice immigration law?
Okay. So there are certain community-based organizations that are approved by the Board of Immigration Appeals. Okay, they go through a process with us, with USCIS, with Immigration and Customs Enforcement, and with the Appeals Board. They have to show they have the education and the experience to provide good immigration advice. You can go onto our website and you can find a list of those community-based organizations. It's what's called accredited organizations.
Thank you.
Buenas noches. Yo solo quiero estar segura, ya dijeron que necesitan un ID, pero pues los rumores que se escuchan es cuando va uno a las huellas que tiene que llevar el pasaporte. Quiero estar segura.
You have to have, when you go for the fingerprints, you have to have, you should have a photo ID. If you don't have a photo ID, then we'll try and work with something else. Okay, you do not have to have a passport. If you have a school ID, that will work as well.
No necesitas un pasaporte obligatorio u otro tipo de identificación podría funcionar.
Mi pregunta es yo ya tengo la acta de nacimiento traducida al inglés. ¿Necesito mandarla a que la certifiquen o así ya como me la dieron ya está lista?
No, no tiene que certificarla. Ya está traducida.
Gracias.
¿Dónde está la persona que está hablando? No la he encontrado.
I have a question. Will it affect
La persona que traduce o que tradujo ese documento tiene que certificar y firmar de que esa es una traducción legítima y fiel.
Es que habían dicho que aún así la teníamos que mandar a OSI. ¿A dónde? A OSI para que ellos la certificaran y la regresaran otra vez.
No. La persona que lo traduce tiene que certificar que es una traducción fiel y legítima de ese documento y lo firma.
So will it affect you if you use a false social security number to work before?
For this program, you only have to provide the documentation that is requested under these guidelines.
Because I know we're gonna go through a biometric, whatever, background check and all that, so they're gonna know, we're gonna provide the information that we have worked before,
Right.
and if it was either with a false or a real one, but under another identity maybe, so is that gonna affect this?
Under this program, that is not a guideline that we're looking at under this program.
Vamos a pedirles que se pongan de pie cuando hagan la pregunta para que los oficiales puedan ver quién está preguntando.
Disculpa, la pregunta es, ¿qué necesitas si eres menor de 17 años? ¿Necesitas una matrícula consular? Porque, pues, ¿qué pasa si no tienes papeles mexicanos con foto o algo? ¿Con la de la escuela enlace o necesitas que tener un documento mexicano con foto?
No necesariamente, puede ser una foto de la escuela, una identificación de la escuela.
Entonces no necesitas tener un documento mexicano.
Del estado, del país de México, no necesariamente. El certificado de nacimiento. Y si aquí en Estados Unidos te entregaron alguna foto, una identificación con tu foto y tu nombre y tu fecha de nacimiento, eso es suficiente.
Ok, nomás el certificado y una escuela de México.
Si eso es todo lo que pueden conseguir, sométela así. Es mejor enviar una que no enviar nada.
Gracias.
Vamos a hacer la última pregunta de este lado y una vez vamos a tomar.
Un momento, Lilia. Un momentito. Una aclaración. Si vas a conseguir o necesitas proveer una identificación que que sea oficial, de una organización que sea prestigiosa, de buena reputación. No vayas a la vuelta de la esquina a sacar una identificación porque la necesito para este programa. Porque no quieres entrar en problemas de fraude. ¿Okay?
Ok, ahora sí la última pregunta de este lado y nos volvemos al otro lado. Gracias por su paciencia.
Como por ejemplo en mi caso, yo llegué en el 2008.
Y entraste sin estatus. No estás bajo la guía que especifica aquí en este programa. No puedes participar de este programa. Tienes que haber llegado aquí antes de junio 15 del 2007.
Ahora nos vamos a mover del otro lado. Le dejo la banderita aquí a la señora. Movemos de este lado para ser justos. Vamos a tomar cierto número y luego nos movemos de este lado, así no... Están tomando más de un lado que del otro lado. Vamos a tratar de ser justos. A ver si alguien me ayuda, Douglas, o alguien me ayuda a llevar el conteo. Vamos a hacer 5, 5, ¿sí? Así somos justos. A ver, señora, número 1.